Hello, I've done it. I'm back. Hello again. What I mean when I say that is, for the last few weeks, since we've had these restrictions in place over here in the UK, I've really gone through the mill in my head about whether it's the right thing to do to be able to come up to the allotment. As it is, our allotments are still open. Everyone else is enjoying their time up here. We're actually further away from people in other allotments up here than we would be if we were at our back garden at home. So while we can, while the restrictions are still allowing us to do so, yeah, I'm going to get up here, I'm going to make the most of it. And I actually consider myself to be so lucky to be able to do so. So yeah, what you'll see today is just a bit of a tip. Mike has been coming up, he's been coming up on and off for the last couple of weeks as his part of his daily exercise. But really, at this time of the year now, things are really starting to ramp up, and we've usually got the beds ready and everything ready to start planting out. But as it stands at the moment, all of my seedlings are at home on our one decent windowsill that gets all the light. I might put a clip in here if I remember. There's some sunflowers there, some sweet peas, red peppers at the front, tomatoes, 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 sweet peas, some mixed flowers. Oh look, more tomatoes, and a bit further on we've got some courgettes. There you go. And if needs be, if the lockdown gets any stricter, we'll try and find places for them to grow at home. We won't be able to grow as much stuff at all, or we won't be able to grow a range of stuff, but hopefully by the time they are ready to plant out, which is, to be fair, it's going to be a good few weeks. So if I have put that clip in, you'll see my tomato plants are still that big. They look like cress. But hopefully if the restrictions are lifted, it'll all be ready for us to be able to plant them out up here. But yeah, today I just thought I'd show you around and bring you up to date. It is a tip, but it's the sort of tip I'm actually quite excited about sorting out. It's not like when we had it last year and we were still building things and putting structures in place. It's just a bit weedy, and there's a bit of dead stalking like this. Dead stalking, if you can deadhead. Oh, I mean deadhead, I think you can dead stalk like that, just to tidy up a little bit. But yeah, I'll show you what we've got so far. I'll show you what we've got coming. And oh yeah, the other thing I do want to do, because I haven't done them over winter because I wasn't organised enough, I'm going to get my broad beans in. So come on, let's just have a little look around. Mike's busy doing something there. Not sure what, but he's busy. What are you up to, Mike?
I'm busy working.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to revive these overwintering chard plants.
Yeah, so
they're very raggy because we left them and they've been eaten by pigeons.
They are a bit raggy, aren't they? So I mean, they should come again, shouldn't they?
Well, they should last for a couple of years, and I think
look at that.
What we're going to try and do is grow some peas next to these, move this net across, cover the whole thing, and I think they'll come back. But in the meantime, I'm separating out some of the little ones, the little sort of the seeds that were under the shadow of some of the seedlings under the shadow of some of the bigger ones. Yeah. I'm going to mulch them, give them a good water, see what happens.
Yeah, I mean that one at the end there, right next to you there, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? Yeah. Wonder why the pigeons haven't bothered with that one. And that's edible. Oh, look at that, you see?
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, so if we can get that coming again, like, I mean, it's already got a head start, hasn't it, really?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's great.
They do last for a few years, or a couple of years anyway.
Give it a go anyway, can't we? second year of our rhubarb here, and I know people have been picking theirs for a long time now, but actually last time I came up it was looking really weak, but look at it now, there's some lovely big stems now. Oh, we're going to have rhubarb crumble for tea, I think. Garlic's doing well. I haven't covered it, so I'm taking my chances with the allium leaf miner. But they do tend to prefer, excuse my wobbly camera, they do tend to prefer leeks and onions. So if they're going to go for anything, they're going to go in that next bed, which has got both our red and our white onions in. So yeah, we've got to remember in the next few days really, to get some sort of net over there, because March and April, that's when the leaf miners start to fly around and lay their eggs. So we certainly don't want any nasty surprises in our onions. The raised beds with the fruit in don't need anything doing to them really. Again, just a little bit of a tidy up. We still haven't put a frame in for the tayberry and the blackberry here in this bed. You can see it there and at the other end, but that's a job on the list. Strawberries at the back there, raspberries here, blueberries, and then a bed of, we don't quite know if that's celery or celeriac, can't remember. I'm going to leave that in for now. I'm going to put some carrots in here, and then if I show you, this is where I'm going to put my broad beans. Now you may remember, or you may not, that when we first got the plot, I put the broad beans in here, and then we topped them with hops and manure. And then they seemed to be popping up quite well, and as they were popping up we noticed they were dying off, and what it was the soil was basically too rich. So it's actually got now, it's got some really well rotted manure on the top that we collected last year, and I'm just going to dig that in, and I'm going to shove some broad beans in there, because by now all of that rich stuff that we put on last year will have rotted down, and you know, it should be the perfect bed for broad beans, as long as the pigeons don't get them, or the mice, or various other creatures. People are mentioning zombies at the moment like it's the apocalypse, but it's just they don't like broad beans. Okay, I'm going to get on and put those in. Okay, I think I'm on. First thing I'm going to do today, because I'm trying to give myself some new standards to stick by, I'm going to write the name of my beans on the label before I've even started. This one is what I can't even say. Broad bean, Whitkiem, Manita. Bought that this year. Never tried it before, but it says it's one of the earliest and quickest to crop, with high yields of tasty beans, which is good for outdoor sowing February to May, so it should be okay. So let's see if I can get that spelling right, that'll be fun. Whitkiem. I found a slight problem drawing on, you know, I kept hold of the bamboo cutlery from a do that I went to, and I asked everyone for their cutlery afterwards so that I could use it as plant labels. But when I've used it as labels in the little seed trays at home, a couple of them have gone mouldy, so a little bit worried about that. So if you are on the Facebook page, you'll realise that I've sprinkled a little bit of cinnamon on top of the seeds of the little seed box, because it's supposed to have antifungal properties. I know there's quite a few other things have as well, but it wasn't an April Fool, it's actually worked, but it has made me wary about using wooden or at least bamboo labels. You've got to keep an eye on them because you don't want your seeds damping off. Okay, Whitkiem, that's all I'm going for. Oh, what's the date? It's Tuesday, that's what I know. 7th of the 4th, not 1930, 2020. And then I've just found these in the shed actually. These are from last year. Oh, so by December 2019. But these are the Aquadulce Claudia, so I'm going to give them a go. I'm sure they'll be absolutely fine. As you can probably see, the fact that they're in the packets, I haven't soaked them overnight or anything like that, so if there's any of you shouting at the screen that I should have soaked them, can't hear you. I'll be wondering in a couple of weeks, I'll be saying, well, I can't understand why they didn't come up. And they were planted in a perfectly ordinary manner. Right, Aquadulce Claudia, and we're deciding it's the 7th of April. Does it matter at the moment? Doesn't really matter. It's April, I've got the right year. So, they're ready. They're tiny, aren't they? Honestly, they were a present. They're really pretty, but I think they're more for little pots, but they're going to have to do in this bed. Right, okay. Let's go for the ones I know first. Let's have a little look. It says, so in double rows, 60 metres apart with 15 centimetres between seeds. So 60 centimetres is 2 foot, 15 centimetres between seeds. So I can go, oh, what's that? That looks like a potato. I think I had potatoes in here last year as well. I did. I can see one over there as well. Oh well, never mind. So I should be able to get, yeah, 2 rows easy here, or 2 double rows. So will I use this, Jane, or will I use this? How deep have I got to put them? I should know all this off by heart by now. Cover with 2 inches of soil, so 5 centimetres of soil. That's what I'm going to use, like a little miniature draw hoe. I like this. Let's get rid of that. And I'm only going to go up to where you can see today, because I'll do the rest a bit later on. I do the rest, you know. When I say I'm going to do the rest, I do it. I don't just pretend. You know what? That's the one bit of soil that doesn't feel like it's been turned over very well, so it might well be. Oh no, I can do it like this. Oh, there's a worm. Hello, worm. And there's a worm. And evidence be needed that there was a potato crop in last year. Tiny potato. We should keep that, shouldn't we? Never know when we might need that. Be back up for that in 2 weeks when we've run out of food. Right, okay. Oh, worm, I'm sorry. Right, let's get this. A nice little trough dug here. And then what I'll do, if I can loosen that up, is make sure it's properly covered. So I'll make like a little mound for it to go in. Okay. Not organised again. How many years have I been doing this now? Wouldn't be the same if I was organised. There's plenty of people organised out there. Right, okay, here we go. How far apart do these need to be? Bum, bum, bum. 15 centimetres, 6 inches between seeds. I'm not going to put 6, oh, I might put 6 inches. I think the thing is with anything that you plant, and I learned this about onions last year or the year before, you plant them closer together, you're going to get smaller plants, or you're going to get smaller onions, because they haven't got enough room to spread. You plant them further apart, you'll let them have more room to spread. You've got to sort of think of how big your plant's going to grow as to how far a distance you leave between. I used to get a little tape measure out, little ruler, to measure exactly between my rows and everything, but you start to do it by eye. Right, so broad bean going in. I've got the little eye. This little eye at the top is facing upwards. I'm going to press them in because, that's not even 6 inches, see? Press them in because there was a reason I was pressing them in. Been distracted, sink the potatoes. Press them in because, yes, so I can get a good 2 inches on top of them. So I'll press them down as far as I can. And yeah, that's it really. I'd love to say there was a magic to growing beans, but when you come back in what's it going to take? 3 months, and none of these have grown, then that'll prove that you are supposed to read the thing properly. Okay, so yeah, cover these up, make a little mound, make sure I know where I've got to, so I'll put that stone there, and then I'll think, why is that stone there? Oh, there's a carrot there, there's been all sorts in here, a bit withered, but that'll go with the potato. Needs must. Okay. Oh, I tell you what, it's just so nice sitting here in the sun. What's that? Half a potato. See, that's starting to sprout again, isn't it? That's it, you just leave these things. If we left this allotment for a year or two, and I know a lot of you take on old allotments, and you can see what's been grown before, but yeah, they just have a mind of their own, and it's survival of the fittest. And I think potatoes are quite fit because they're still growing. Look, that's been split in half last year. It's still got little shoots, still wants to live. So I would say now that it's got a good 5 inches on top of it, and same with this. Bash it down a bit, good 5 inches on top of that as well. And the only thing now is I'll carry on, I'll water them in. I might cover them, I might leave it for a couple of weeks because obviously it's going to be absolute food from the heavens for the pigeons, nice bright green bean shoots and pea shoots. If you don't cover your beans or peas, let me know what you do with them, because I'd love to know if there was another way. I don't really like covering things unless I really have to. But like you saw with the chard, when you don't, the pigeons do tend to have a field day. But you know what? It's nice to think they're getting fed as well in these lean times. Right, okay, I'm not going to carry on with that anymore. I'm fed up with that now. I will carry on in a minute with that. Water these in, and that's it. I've got my first lot of Manita in, broad beans. Fingers crossed. Some neighbours have just handed us a whole tray of Sungold tomatoes. How good are they? Okay, so here I am back again, and after all my dithering and wondering and thinking and overthinking and whatever it is when you overthink something, procrastinating about coming down here. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad I did. It's if you did watch the chat the other day, we did our live chat on Sunday night, and you'll know that one of the reasons I haven't been coming up recently is because of the restrictions. And although our allotments are open and we can walk here, and this can be our daily exercise, which is indeed what Mike's been doing, part of me just, it's almost like I feel guilty about coming up when there's other people who are being told off, you know, for sitting in the sunshine for 5 minutes. And I do sort of think it's not fair, is it? It's just not fair. There's people in flats who've got no outdoor space. You might be one of them. And you know, you've got your half hour a day and all you want to do is make the most of it. But somebody said, and this is the turning point, what made me think actually, because I was trying to weigh up, you know, because we haven't been told we can't come up to the allotments. In fact, Michael Gove said a week or so ago that yes, people should still go to the allotments. So it's all been a bit skew-whiff. But what weighed it up was someone said, and I think it was Tony, said, you've got to think in a couple of months' time, you'll have your own food, and that'll take the burden off the food chain, if you like. So, you know, instead of supermarket shelves being empty, which actually they're not at the moment, they're pretty well stocked, unless you want flour, or even gluten-free flour, or even gluten-free pasta. Who's eating all the gluten-free pasta? It's usually only us. But yeah, and I did think, okay, in that way, that makes me feel a bit better, that I may take some of my need off other people. Anyway, that's how I've reasoned with myself. So yeah, it's great because you come in here and you're sitting at home and try not to watch the news all the time, but you're keeping yourself busy with different things. And I just opened the gate and it just felt normal. Everything was normal. There's been a robin following me around. I don't know if it's come on camera at all, but of course they love it when you dig in the soil, any worms or anything to be had. There's bees everywhere, there's butterflies. I'll be cursing the butterflies in a few months when they're all laying their eggs on my leaves. But they're everywhere, and it just goes to show, you know, whatever the rest are going through, nature itself is just managing, isn't it? It's just getting on with things. Can't read the news just as well. Otherwise, they'd never come off their nests. Right, okay, so I've made a start on my pots, and believe you me, if it come down on another day, I would have really not wanted to do this job, but I'm just really enjoying getting my hands dirty again. Dirty fingernails. The status quo has been resumed. I'm going through. I thought I had a dahlia in that pot. It was wishful thinking. It turns out it was just a big clod of grass, and whatever else was in there has completely died off. So I've got my spent compost. And again, someone on the live chat the other day, we were talking about filling buckets to grow potatoes in buckets. And I was mentioning the cost of compost, and well, we got onto using spent compost, etc. And I think it was Russ, or was it Tony? I think it was Russ, said about spent compost is brilliant for your carrots and your parsnips because they don't like anything too rich. I'm just doing this. There's nothing in there. It's just soil. It's just so nice. So yeah, so it's already had most of the nutrients taken out of it, and you don't want all your carrots to go forky and everything. So yeah, so we'll be doing some of those in buckets. So thanks for that, Russ. That's the beauty of social media. I mean, all the time you've got to watch what you watch. Be careful. Don't believe everything you read, etc. But especially, I say it all the time, don't I? I know I'm really boring about this. The gardening community are just brilliant, and having that live chat the other night was just so nice because much as I can sit here and waffle on my own, I think I gave people half a chance to answer back and to give some really, really good advice. So yeah, that's good. Don't know what this was. It could be something. There's a root. Doesn't smell of anything particular. That's going to go on my mess pile. Oh look, oh no. Oh Jane, I might have ruined something here. Let's have a look. Actually, there's quite a lot of roots. I wonder if that was a dahlia. Maybe that was a dahlia. Right, that's going to go back in. Because that, I don't know if you can see, I don't want to take all the soil off it now, but that's got quite a few legs, you might call them. See? 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's got growth coming off the top. So that is going to go back in something, although it was only in this tiny pot. And it has got leaves on. Oh, that might be that's my sweet. Never know which way around is. Sweet Cicely, sweet Cecily. Right, that's going back in a pot. I'm going to put all the, talk about reusing my compost for carrots. I'm going to reuse it for my sweet Cecily. And the reason, oh, there's loads of woodlice. The reason I know that is because the little leaves at the top are like ferns. And it's just like cow parsley, really. But as at the moment, we're still going ahead with Charlotte's wedding at the end of August. This will provide, hopefully, some glorious, I'm going to use this word, umbels of white flowers to put in the flower arrangement. So yeah, sorry little sweet Cecily, if it can survive that. It can survive anything. It survived winter in that pot, so it must be quite strong. You see, this is where I should have my labels on me and I can label it straight away. But okay, that's back in. Right, pot to label, empty pot, mess, soil. Okay, all right, I'm going to carry on here. Oh, I'm getting soil up my nose now. Happy day. I've got my broad beans in today. As I say, if the restrictions do get any stricter and we can't come up, we know that we've got stuff in. Some of the potatoes in, we've got some onions in, garlic's doing its own thing, fruit can just be left, and the broad beans are in. And as far as everything else is concerned, it's all stuff I'm sowing in pots anyway to begin with, and won't need transplanting, certainly won't need to go outside until the end of May. Look at this. I could pretend it was chives, but it's not, it's just grass. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. My heartfelt blessings and wishes and hugs to all of you out there going through this horrible, horrible time, and especially if you are finding it difficult to get outside and you're struggling with what you're doing inside. My best thing is to keep busy. I've actually got through most of my ironing pile. I hate ironing, but I actually, oh, that went up my nose. I actually ran out of excuses not to do it anymore. I've still got the other half to do. But yeah, so keep yourself busy, give yourself a routine. I know it's the same old, everyone's saying the same thing. Well, this has got a label. Indoor cucumber. Right, well, it's outdoors now and it hasn't survived the winter, so I think we can say that's a goner. That'll go dead pot. Yeah, do pick up something new. Do something different. Do something you've always wanted to do. Play the bagpipes. That'll cheer your neighbours up. Yeah, I think we are all being forced, because we're so used to having everything on tap, we are all being forced to be more creative, not just with our time, but with our hands and with our minds, and trying to think what other things we can do. So do keep in touch here. Get over to the Facebook page. It's really lovely, you know. I've certainly been on there a lot more than I normally am, because it's communication, isn't it? And at a time where it's difficult to actually go and have a coffee with friends and things like that, it does really come into its own. So yeah, get over there, make friends. I'll leave a link to the Facebook page below. Have a look at some old videos, go and make some new videos, go and make some videos of your own, go and make some new friends on their channels. But most of all, yeah, take care of yourselves, stay safe, wash your hands, she says, and look after each other. Okay, and hopefully I'll see you down here again very soon.